Matt, the name of this podcast is Plugged In, and while sometimes we're stuck on shows, especially Paradise, which is a current series that Mark and I both like a lot, but we often talk about music and the art of music, the business of music, just the music that we love and that's informed our lives. And so you were apparently, part of a decade of our life, making sure that the good music made it to our ears and our headphones.
Yes, I guess in some ways I did, for sure. And I happened to pick my favorites during the time, and I would get them extra promotion that maybe they weren't paying for because I just felt their music should be heard more. So
that's fantastic.
That's
fantastic. And so in your work, are there, the elements that music can play, or did they fork in that moment in your life?
They forked for sure because I needed to take my life in a new direction. And that wasn't easy. I mean, that meant a lot of professional, personal relationships even, had to go away. I mean, changes had to be made. I took full responsibility for getting myself into that dark place that I got to because it was the choices that I made. And I realized that I had to make other choices in order for me to go a new direction. So I owned it, right? But actually, my new book is coming out in a month, and I have a story in there that I wrote about, and it's just, I guess it's only when you're going to write a book that you take the time to really reflect and kind of go to these moments. And I realized that music was always a part of my life in a very interesting way, because I remember, and I'm old enough to remember when the European artists did Do They Know It's Christmas?
Yes.
And I remember getting that VHS tape, and I watched that thing hundreds of times. And because I saw how people can come together through music to literally change the world. And then fast forward a few more years, I remember my first ever U2 concert, and it was the original Joshua Tree concert. And I remember being in the Oakland Coliseum, outdoor stadium, and it was a spiritual moment like I've never seen before. I mean, people in the nosebleeds, the very top seats, singing every word. And again, I saw music bring people together in a way when all the dark and all the stuff about humans and humanity that are not our best look seems to go away in those moments. And somehow then that leaned over into sports for me as well, because my first job out of college was with M&M Mars, and Snickers was the sponsor for World Cup.
That's right.
And so I got to work all the World Cup matches as well. So there's something about, whether it's music or sports, to see it break down so many of the walls and to bring us together. And I think all of that is part of what inspired me to even create Every Monday Matters. That I thought, can I create a movement around mattering that brought us together, that helped us value ourselves more, helped us value each other more, helped us value this planet that we live on more. So one day, will there be like an Every Monday Matters concert? I think there will be. I think that I'll end up partnering with a major band and doing something super cool.
Please contact me.
I was going to say, Mark and I will be there, and we will be your podcast sponsor.
That'd be amazing. Yes, I would love to do something like that.
Yes.
And I still have a lot of friends in music here that are in great bands, and they're great humans. And so I think that there's possibility for something like that.
Awesome.
Matt,
that is amazing.
You're touching on, do they know it's Christmas? I feel like we're back in a moment like that globally. And so when you said that, I thought, the uncertainty and the geopolitics layered with national politics and budgets and gas prices and all of the things.
Yeah.
This is the work that is now your domain, finding your through lines. And so thanks for bringing Do They Know It's Christmas back into this, because it really feels meaningful for this day we sit in today.
It does. And it's hard. As the founder of a nonprofit organization, I get asked the question all the time, like, what does success look like for you? And my answer is always going out of business. Because if we've solved for the mission, then the work is done and we have no more work to do. Unfortunately, that's not how things are going when it comes to mattering and honoring each other as human beings and all the parts of it. I talk about the weight of work, and I also talk about the weight of the world quite a bit. And the weight of both of those are crushing, And so it's interesting, as a keynote speaker, a lot of times companies will say, well, why does mattering matter at work? And they see it as soft, if you will. And I don't see it that way. I think there is an absolute mandate on corporate America to start making sure that your people know how much and why they matter. And with AI rolling in, it's going to get harder and harder for them to feel like they do. And I think there's going to be a humanitarian crisis at work. I think that people are going to go through such a dark struggle over these next few years unless we decide to do something about it. And so, that's why I'm excited to be at this conference. I mean, number one, we've been in education now for, 15 years. We serve over 4 million students and 50,000 educators. So I have a heart for the space, but also it's the ones that you don't think about that don't get the credit they deserve. The people coming to this conference, I mean, Steve talked about it. Like, our schools can't run without this tech, but certainly the tech people are not getting the praise. They probably often feel like they don't matter. They feel unseen and unheard and unappreciated. And so for me, I love going into those spaces because I just want to talk straight to their hearts and truly lift them and to believe in themselves, to believe in the work matters, to show up every day knowing that they're having an impact, that things don't work without them. And sometimes, we forget about certain folks and we can't. You mentioned something too, which I think is so important also, is the idea of coming together, and the value of connection. And, we're starving for it. I mean, I'm seeing this everywhere I go, no matter the industry. People are just thirsting for connection. And obviously loneliness has now become an epidemic and, on a global scale. And so to come together, to celebrate each other, to hug, to laugh, to shed a tear, maybe, like, all that's going to happen in my 60 minutes. So get ready to smile and bring your Kleenex because you might need both.
Perfect. Well, and I think that really speaks to what our organization is. I was in one of our cabinet meetings, and we currently have a travel freeze in place because of budgets. And we were making, and even our superintendent made a profound statement saying people don't get to stop having professional development. Going to a conference is good for people because it feels good. It allows you to connect and get those connections outside of your district. And that's one thing that our organization does really well. We provide a lot of connection, a lot of inter-district relationships. Just for an example, Rachel and then a couple of other tech directors and myself are in a Wordle group. You would probably not see that in other departments in school districts, but it's because of our conference. It's just the way that we work. So I'm very excited for this message. I think our attendees are very excited, will be very excited for this message too. And I love that you gave some background to who you are because it frames your message. So thank you for that.
That's right. Yeah. I share my story throughout the keynote, but then I want people to experience mattering. I'm not a keynote speaker that's going to talk at you for 60 minutes. I don't think people want that anymore. And I might have 12 slides or something max. I'm going to tell a story, and then I'm going to go into our framework, which is called the Mattering Mindset. And I'm going to show them how this framework can transform individual lives, teams, work, families, communities. And my new book that comes out May 5th, Make It Matter, is really unpacking that mindset framework. And so I'm going to show people under the hood a little bit that this is how we design transformation at Every Monday Matters for individuals and for ecosystems. And so they'll walk away with some real actionable framework stuff and a very full heart. And so it's kind of a combination of the two.